Hey everyone, my name is Sean Arnold and this is a deck list for my Demise Yosenju deck, which I used in episode 99 of my Yugioh online ranked series for Legacy of the Duelist. Please be aware that I do not feel like this is the most optimized version. I was trying to show off as many different new cards as possible. However, if I ever do come back to this deck again, I will just upload another deck list with a newer version. However, as it is pretty good, and it's one of the more fun anti-meta decks to run in this environment. So I'll quickly describe Yosenjus and what their archetype does. They are an archetype which has a common theme running through them, and that is when you summon one, you can summon another, by normal summoning, and you can quickly swarm the field quite easily with these low level monsters. Also, during the end phase, the flip side of it is that they return to your hand, and that can be a bonus and a bit of a hindrance in the way that you have an empty field, but you can also swarm the field quite quickly. They're really fun to play, so if you are looking for a deck which doesn't have cards which are locked behind the new DLC, then this is a really good one to pick in my opinion. So first of all, we've got three versions of Kama 1. Kama 1 has the same effect as I described earlier, plus it has targeted bounce removal, in that it can target one monster my opponent controls and send it back to their hand. Great for getting rid of extra deck monsters and just a ton of threats in general, so it's really good for that, plus it's free. Kama 2, I only have 2 copies of this because it's less useful in my opinion, and it can attack directly, and you do want to have at least 2 because you do need a different monster to summon that. You can't summon the same copy of Kama in order to in a row, so you do want to have some variety, but I think 2 is enough right now. Then I've got Kama 3. Kama 3 is a searcher for the deck. If it anytime any other type of Kama or Yosenju monster deals damage while Kama 3 is on the field, you can add another Yosenju monster from your deck to your hand. Really great searcher running in freeze. Then I also have 1 copy of Sujik, which can give 1,000 attack points to a Yosenju monster, either by discarding it from your hand during the battle step, or summon it to the field and then boost up an attack of another monster. Very versatile, very good to use, very good in terms of defense and offense. Then I have 1 copy of Yosenju Sinju L, which protects your Yosenju monsters from being destroyed when it is put in the pendulum zone. It also is a level 4, which can be used as a rank 4 material, and it has 2100 defense, which isn't always so easy to get over. So it's a nice card, and what I like about it the most is that it's a pendulum monster, and you can pull it on the field because of the next card, Demise, which we have 3 of. Demise is a card which allows you to draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. However, it has a lot of downsides. The first one is that for the rest of the turn, your opponent takes no damage. So if you want to deal damage to your opponent, best thing to do is to attack them first, then use this card in main phase 2. During the end phase of your turn then, you also have to send your entire hand to the graveyard, and you can only activate 1 of these per turn, and you cannot special summon the turn you use this card. So a lot of hindrances, but hindrances that don't really hurt your Yosenjus too badly, because they repeatedly normal summon as opposed to special summoning. To complement Demise, I also have 3 copies of Into the Void, which has a similar downside in that in the end phase you have to discard your entire hand, but it gives you a card. You can only use it when you have 3 or more cards in your hand, and you get to draw 1 more card. So it's kind of like an extra copy of Upstart Goblin, but the idea is you want to use this at a similar time that you use Demise, and that way their downsides overlap and they don't hurt you so much. I have 1 copy of Dark Hole and Rageki for removal, which is over here. Just generic removal. Destruction isn't really so good, but you never really know what you're going to run into in Legacy of the Duelist, so you can kind of get away with it if you really don't like running Destruction because you're worried about more meta style decks which prevent destruction or kind of take advantage over it. Then take these out, but Legacy of the Duelist is really random, so I have those cards in here. I have 1 copy of Dimensional Fissure. I'll talk about that in a minute. 2 copies of Tenki. Normally, or in the past, I would run 3 copies of Tenki. It is a card which allows you to add 1 level 4 or lower Beast Warrior type monster from your deck to your hand. It's a really strong card, it's a really great search tool, and it really speeds up the deck a lot. The downside though in this situation is that it is a continuous spell that isn't always easy to get rid of, and because you're running Demise and Into the Void, you want to be able to have enough zones on the field to set cards so that you don't have to discard them. So I'm only using 2 of these for the time being, and it's working out well. I'm not really running into any consistency problems, but if you want to add more, feel free to do so. And another brand new card here is Galaxy Cyclone. This is for back row removal. When used, it destroys a face down card on the field, spell or trap card that is, and when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to destroy a spell or trap card. So you can use it multiple times. Really good alternative to MST in my opinion. Then I have Gold Sarcophagus. I like Gold Sarcophagus in this deck because it allows you to search out any card you want. Plus it's a really easy and quick card to use, kind of like Upstart Goblin. And again, because you've got to worry about hand control so much, it's nice to be able to just be able to play a card instantly and get its side effect in the future. Plus because it's being banished, the card you're taking is being banished and you don't get for another 2 turns, you don't really have to worry about Demise's downside for that turn. I think it works really well. It works nicely here. I have 1 copy of Necrovalley to look at the graveyard alongside of Dimensional Fissure, which I'll talk about more later. Then I have Pot of Duality at 3. This is also a really good card in this deck. Again, this card stops you from special summoning, but it's not really a downside for your Yosenjus. Plus with card on Demise, Into the Void, Tenki, Upstart Goblin, Gold Sarcophagus, Pot of Duality really allows you to dig through your deck and get your key pieces ASAP. It's not as popular anymore, but it's still a really good card for decks that can use it. Raigeki I already spoke about, Upstart Goblin and its Goblin, and then we've got some traps here in the form of Bottomless Trap Hole. Very old card, I think people know what that does. And then 3 copies of Drowning Mirror Force. This is a brand new card that I really like in your Yosenjus because you leave your field open quite a bit. What it does is when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, you get to shuffle all of their attack position monsters into their deck. The direct attack part is a bit of a downside. It doesn't make it as versatile as say Mirror Force, but being able to shuffle your opponent's monsters into their deck is a really good form of removal nowadays because the graveyard and extra deck is just as much a resource as anywhere else, including the banish pile. So I think Drowning Mirror Force works really well here. Macrocosmos, Dimensional Fissure and Necrovalley are all forms of graveyard control. Like I said, the graveyard is just an extra resource nowadays, and so being able to lock your opponent's graveyards off is really useful. It does hinder you a little bit, but your Yosenjus don't ever really want to get to the graveyard. The only time I ever put my Yosenjus in the graveyard on purpose is if I detach them through an XE material. So looking off the graveyard can be really... it doesn't hurt you as much as it hurts other decks, so having these 3 forms of graveyard control is really useful. Similarly, Rivalry of the Warlords is also a really good control card. It's a bit of a mixed bag. You might want to take it out from this build and maybe put in another copy of a different card, but I wanted to show off how effective this card could be. I don't think I did so in the video, but it's a really good card for the current format, depending on what deck you're facing. In some situations, playing Rivalry of Warlords against a deck, especially in a one round duel, can win you the game pretty much instantly. Another new card to the game is Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is Solemn Warning's little brother. It costs only 1500 life points, and you can negate the summon of a special summon only. So you can't do any type of summon, only special summons. You can also negate the activation of a monster effect as well. It's really good and really versatile because effects activate anywhere nowadays. They activate in the banish pile, in the graveyard, in the hand, and on the field. And having a card which can kind of just shut them down can really swing a game into your favor. I do have an extra copy in the side deck. It can be a little bit costly with life points, especially since you leave your field open so much, but it works really well here. I would recommend maybe taking out Rivalry for a 3rd copy if you want to do so. Solemn Warning is Solemn Warning, is an old card, as is Torrential Tribute and Vanity's Emptiness. And yeah, so that's the main build there. My apologies for coughing. So in regards to the extra deck, you don't really use it too much, but you do want to have it there as an option. And there are some extra cards here. Dweller for graveyard control, along with Rhapsody and Berserk here for graveyard removal. Tiger King is a good turn 1 play. You can search out Tenki from this card So if you don't have that already in your hand, you can summon Tiger King and it just +1s into Tenki, which also gives you another +1. Really nice thing to do on the first turn. Castell is one of the best removals still, although its target is a little bit weaker, but Castell's still Castell. Daigusto is one of your only forms of graveyard management in this deck. You can shuffle any cards in your graveyard back into your deck, and that can be vital if it's a long drawn out game. Dark Rebellion XC Dragon, not really so useful, mostly there for filler. It can half the attack of another opponent's monster and add it to itself. In some situations it can be really helpful, but it's really just there to be a big beat stick. 2 copies of Cowboy for burn damage. When in defense it can burn 800. Gagaga Samurai for double attacking power. Yeah, it's 1900 attack, and it can attack twice during battle phase, doing up to 3800 damage, which is really nice. Gem Knight Pearl also for being a beat stick, not really necessary, but it's there. Lightning Chidori is one of the best XE monsters you can kind of make with this deck. When it's summoned, it shuffles back a set card from the field to the bottom of your opponent's deck, and then you can attach and do it for face-up cards too. Really good card. I make it quite often. Silent Honor Art is there for sustainability. It stays in the field, it's hard to destroy, plus it can take an opponent's special summon monster if it is in attack position, so it's good for controlling the field a little bit. Giant Hand I've got in here only because I had extra space, don't really need it. I have it there as an alternative to Tiger King for a first turn play. It can negate the effect of a face-up monster on the field, but it's meh, to be honest with you. Rhapsody Berserk I spoke about, and Heartland Draco is a monster which can attack directly for 2000 damage if there is a face-up spell card on the field, and you have options there with Necro Valley or Dimensional Fissure. I don't really use it too often in this deck, but again, it's another option in particular situations. I also forgot you have a Pendulum monster there too, so that helps out for Heartland Draco. So that's the build. Hopefully this has been useful to some people. If so, please let me know. And hopefully people enjoy this new format where I do the videos, plus I also do a deck list as well, because I do get a lot of comments of people asking me, can you show me the deck list so they can build it themselves. If you're someone that worries about copying or net decking, please do not worry. I do not care about that. I just I'm glad to see people are still playing the game and are looking for new decks to make. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.